In this world of technology, things are ever changing, rearranging. You need someone to help you out. I know someone who can. Come and take a journey with me as we go through the land of technology. You'll never be alone. You'll be with Paul Amadeus Lane in the tech zone.
Welcome back to the show, Paul Amadeus Lane. So happy to have you. Stay with me. If you missed the first segment of the show, check it out. We talked about the top 10 gaming franchises of all time, according to a certain survey. Definitely want you to check it out. Go to paulamadeuslane.com. You can check out the video podcast, the audio podcast. We got you covered. You know, it's hard to believe that I've been doing this show. It's hard to believe that I've been doing this show for a little over 2 years, and no doubt you've seen a little transformation of how the show is done. A lot more polished, I think it looks. If not, you let me know. I'm always striving for greatness here on the show. But I decided to have that great individual back to talk about what he's been up to the last couple of years and the growth that his company has seen and continue to do when it comes to changing the world, when it comes to renewable energy, especially when it comes to cooking. And I'm so happy to have back with me. A couple of years ago, he was one of my first guests when I started the Tech Zone, and I didn't scare him away. He's back to chat, talk about what's going on with the company and the great innovation that they have. Patrick Sherwin, GoSun founder and CEO. What's going on, buddy?
Good things. I'm excited to talk about the fuel-free frontier and introduce what we're doing with our latest solar power devices.
Awesome. And you know what I did, Patrick, before I brought you on, I played the video from our clip we did a couple of years ago. We haven't aged a bit. That's all I have to say, man. We look good. 2 years we've aged well.
I don't know, Paul. I worked about 100 hours last week, and I ended up getting a cold. I'm not feeling that best, and this is the day after July 4th, so man, we're a little haggard. But thank you for saying that.
And no worries. I'm glad I had you on. So, Patrick, for ones who missed our first interview that we did a couple of years ago about GoSun, why don't you explain why you created the company in the first place and the vision that you had that led us to where we're at today?
Yeah, I've always tried to figure out how to use more sunlight. I feel like we can run our lives with solar power, and I've been playing around with it for 20 years. And every year getting a little bit closer and better at fueling my life. I'm talking about my cars, my homes, even travel, of course, all the food that we eat and grow. And so GoSun's committed to powering the good life by solar energy. I make a high efficiency solar oven that's it's just a fantastic way to cook food. You can use it in your backyard. You can take it on the go. This year I turned 40 back in February, and I decided to cook on it for 40 straight days just to prove that the technology is viable. I'm here in Cincinnati, Ohio, not the sunniest place for you Californians, but I managed to pull it off. So that's testament to how powerful the technology is. Basically, I want to figure out how to run every facet of my life with the sun and others. There's still 40% of the world cooking with wood and charcoal on a daily basis, and GoSun's committed to alleviating them and breaking a cycle of poverty around wood, solid fuel burning and gathering, creating a lot of health issues, of course, a lot of environmental issues that we're addressing here, and just to share and have fun with people like you, Paul. That's kind of, this makes my day.
And Patrick, when I was following you on the 40 days, I was like, it just really warmed my heart, man. Because I remember, man, we chatted a couple of years ago and talking about the vision of the company and how you got into it. It is real refreshing to see you still going on and also being recognized too. And we'll talk about some of those recognitions later on in the interview. But what I wanted to share with the audience too is your background. That led you to this. You know what I mean? I mean, you have a pretty incredible background. So don't sell yourself short, my friend. Tell everyone what you did before, you decided to jump into the entrepreneurial atmosphere of creating this great device.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I was always really interested in the outdoors, and I think that's for me kind of where all this comes from is falling in love with nature and then wanting to take care of it. And then when I would travel, a lot of times I would be blown away with the way people interacted in that fold between getting things done, survival, and then how they built their homes, how they got food and water, shelter. This is a lot of travel in developing countries. That for me kind of opened my mind and helped me realize that helping preserve culture and take care of people was is equally important, if not more so. And so I've changed from environmentalist to humanitarian, and my work has taken me on rooftops around the world doing solar energy installations. I've done a lot with wind, biofuels, electric vehicles, green building. And again, just trying to come up with clean and green ways to keep us alive and on the planet. And I'd say that those all pulled together, mixed with a lot of outdoor recreation. A lot of whitewater kayaking and rock climbing and mountain biking. And you put all this together, and you got somebody that's willing to take some risks, somebody that's very interested in green technology. I kind of have a good background from thanks to my father and tinkering in the garage as a kid, and I've got a healthy respect for physics, mathematics, and science, of course, and then I'm nutty about the sun. I mean, I literally just want to do everything I can with the sun, and so put those together. I guess the other part is a creative culinary interest. I feel like the creative process a lot of times starts in the kitchen for all of us. And I love cooking. I always have, and so that's thanks to Mom, who would let me go into the kitchen and mess around and make a horrible tasting dish and learn. And so it's a combination of sorts. And entrepreneurship was something that I never really thought of myself as, more just someone that saw an opportunity and wanted to run with it. And now that I've been 5 years into GoSun, I guess you'd say it's a very entrepreneurial effort of what's come together here, and I have a healthy respect for all the entrepreneurs out there. Now, I guess being one myself, and you have to be tenacious. You have to have a vision, and you got to stick with it. Which is saying all the same thing. I mean, from the moment we launched GoSun to today, I've probably put in roughly 70, 80-hour average work weeks, and I wouldn't rather do anything else because it's the best combination of all the things I've done with food, adventure, and living outdoors, mixed with proper technical science and innovation, all coming together in a thing that I can share.
No,
so it's great.
Well said, my friend. Just hearing about your background and where you're at today, it's like I said, it's truly, truly refreshing. And so let's talk about some of these great devices right here. It's great innovation right here. And what we have on the screen is the OG. Now, this is the one you and I talked about a couple of years ago. Why don't you tell everybody about this one?
Yeah, we actually had this idea early on to make a little portable backpack-worthy version. And when I first started cooking on these tubes, they were this size, but they were 6 feet long. And the only thing that you could cook in them was hot dogs. And so the OG, the original meal was a hot dog. And then for about 5 years, while it was still a muse, it was just making hot dogs. And so we basically brought that product to life in a small 2-pound package. It's got a really cool zippered pouch. It's made out of an EVA foam, which a lot of camera lenses and camera cases are made of the same stuff. That thing goes anywhere. You can cook a meal in about a half an hour. It feeds one. You could fit 6 or so hot dogs inside as an example of a meal. It can also boil water. So 2 cups of water can be made hot to steep coffee or tea in just about 40 minutes or so.
Nice.
So that's the GoSun Go.
Nice. And let's talk about the sport now. I mean, you and I talked about the sport a few years ago. And how's the sport different from the OG?
Yeah, the sport's a 2-seater. So if the Go is the scooter, then the sport is like a sports car. It's about 7 pounds. It's cooks for 2 people as opposed to 1, and similar cooking speed and style. It's real fast and real hot. You can take it anywhere. Both of them collapse down, so you can carry them on the go. And the sport's actually kind of our flagship. It's been around, and I used the heck out of the sport during 40 Days of Sunshine. You're seeing the grill right now, which is the next one we're about to talk about. And that's a prototype on the screen there. We have hundreds of prototypes. Those are some pork tenderloins going in, country style pork going into the GoSun Sport, which is again feeding 2 people. Those took about 25 minutes to get medium rare, and then about 35 to be medium, 45 to be done. So.
Nice. So Patrick, you said that feeds too. No, that just feeds me right there, because I'm gonna eat all those steaks if they're in the grill, under the grill like that. And that's one thing I appreciate about it, because if we look at today, especially in the States, where the rising cost of fuel and the cooking, with this piece of innovation right here, we can cut down some of the fuels that we use in cooking, and really save a little money and the environment.
Yeah. I mean, that's a huge argument for folks living in developing countries. I mean, some people in Haiti spend more on their charcoal than they do on their food. And then like people in India are often cases are spending upwards of 6 hours a day just gathering firewood. So when you get into the economics, our argument is very strong in developing countries. But yeah, simply in the States, you don't have to mess around with propane, charcoal, firewood, and that saves you all kinds of frustration. It saves you the burn hazard. You don't have to worry about kids running up to the grill. You don't have to worry about making all kinds of smoke and a smelly mess that's the neighbors are complaining about. And so, going fuel free has significant advantages, definitely.
It's awesome. Now, Patrick, let's talk about the big daddy. Now, this guy right here is pretty huge. Now, let's talk about this one.
Yeah, that's the GoSun Grill. So this guy came out of a couple of years of innovation. We had a pilot study where we were doing a lot of development work in Peru or in Guatemala, and we studied the efficacies of using these tubes, and we went as big as we possibly could. So the grill can fit like 2 chickens, smaller chickens, for an example. It takes 2 loaf pans, and it's a fantastic baking machine. One of the things that came out of our pilot studies was that people can't bake when they're in remote areas cooking over fires. They're using small, thin aluminum pans. And so this is the first time in their life that they're ever baking. So with our grill, we set it up in the backyard. You don't ever have to move it. It can handle the weather because it's all stainless steel, aluminum, and glass. It closes up into its own little case. When you open the reflectors, point them at the sun, you can let it preheat for hours. When you come home from work, you got a hot oven that's ready to use. You can leave food inside it. It'll stay hot and juicy for hours, so you don't have to worry about food burning. You can serve it whenever you want. So the grill has become a real entertainment device. It's a good complement to the existing grills that you have in your backyard. The things that you could do in the grill, you can't do on your Weber. So your Weber is going to throw flames and a lot of heat at a piece of meat, which is wonderful. We get that black caramelization and crusty cancerogenic stuff. But you can't do that real well in our products. You're not smoking meats. You're almost stewing them. They're cooking in their own juices. So the nutrition and the flavor is really trapped inside. This unit will take around an hour to make a meal for upwards of 8 people at a time.
Nice.
And that's yeah. Thanks, Paul.
Nice. No, and you know what, Patrick, I remember a couple of years ago when we had this conversation, I remember you talked to me about how in underdeveloped countries, how people use, correct me if I'm wrong, use like feces to heat their food or something like that. I remember we had a conversation with that, and you opened our eyes to that. Please share with that, please.
Yeah, I mean, when you're energy poor, which is really what this is about giving people access to energy. And in America, we have plenty of it, so that's certainly not an issue. In America, it's about having literacy about energy. Where does it come from? How much does it take? How to properly use it. But yeah, people gather whatever they can to burn to cook food. I mean, I've seen images of people burning plastic to cook a meal. Animal like cow patties are actually fantastic forms of energy when burnt. They burn like a log, like a fire log starter. You know, and people in China use biogas machines where their feces, as well as a lot of their scraps, like a compostable scraps, will go into a toilet that's sealed and creates an anaerobic respiration where microbacteria are eating up that food and creating methane gas. And then the methane gas, it's kind of like burped into their stovetop. So they're actually cooking on basically digestion farts from anaerobic bacteria.
Gotcha. I've never heard it that way, but I'm glad you explained it that way. Digestive farts. That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, I want to be as clear and transparent as I can be.
Definitely. For some of us guys who don't have that knowledge of you when it comes to the solar and renewable energy, I appreciate that. Now, you guys did something pretty incredible here, let's say a few days ago, with something else you guys are going to launch, and let's talk about that.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. So the latest and greatest from GoSun is a hybrid. This is the capability to use the sun, and we all know how abundant and available and strong that is. And of course, if you've ever cooked on a GoSun, you know that it's a very efficient and reliable source. We can cook with the sun just about every day of the year. But this unit also has the ability to cook with electric power. And so that's kind of the game change for us. The electric heating element is integrated here underneath the cooking tray. And the amount of energy it uses is a fifth of a traditional like toaster oven, microwave, or stovetop. To push of a button, we've married it to a 2-pound lithium-ion power bank. And that little 2-pound power bank can literally cook an entire meal for 5 people, stored inside, just with the energy stored inside the power bank. Then you can buy a small solar panel, 20 watts, and you can recharge the power bank using solar electric power. The GoSun technology is 4 times more efficient than solar electric. So that basically means that you're creating heat at an efficiency that exceeds 80% in capturing sunlight and turning it into heat, whereas solar electric panels are usually only about 20% efficient. So anybody that's ever used a GoSun will pretty much tell you it's kind of mind-blowing, or it's unbelievable how quickly they cook. And now when we marry it to electric, the same thing will be true. So, but what's different with GoSun cooking on electric is that you can take it portably. You could go anywhere, which means it's using 1/10 the electricity of your toaster oven. And so you can power it with this tiny little power bank instead of having to bring an entire generator with you while you're out and about.
Nice. Are the beers included?
Yeah, it does make a pretty cool cooler. We've actually been playing around with that because our vacuum tubes are so well insulated.
That's awesome. Now, I saw a cell phone, a device. Is it connected? Can you use your phone with it as well?
So the power bank has the ability to charge your cell phone 20 times. So it's not actually, the GoSun is not making electricity. It's just making heat. You have to bring the electricity from an outside source. You can buy this power bank from us that has it's a 45,000 milliamp hour battery bank, or you can plug it directly into your carport, like the cigarette lighter port of your car, boat, or RV can also power this device.
Nice. I tell you, this is awesome, Patrick. What you guys have been able to accomplish in the short amount of time that I've been familiar with the company, and also being recognized by the Consumer Technology Association. I know the former VP of Communications and Strategy, as I call it, Jeff Joseph, he and I talked about you last year, about you guys being recognized by CTA, and talk about that honor, about being recognized by that awesome organization.
Yeah, that is an awesome organization. They're the ones that put on the Consumer Electronics Show out in Vegas every year. And they gave us the Small Business of the Year award for 2017, and it was just such a treat. They took me out to San Francisco for the Innovate Celebrate Festival, which is a fantastic opportunity. They brought in a ton of startups with the help of TechCo, And actually, we were on the Startup 100 list that we got selected, and then we went through the competition ourselves and became one of the top 5 finalists to pitch on the main stage. So I got up on that stage a couple of times during Innovate Celebrate, which I was so grateful for, and got a chance to share GoSun with everybody as CTA really kind of gets out of the way so that the entrepreneurs can really give their spiel, which is what entrepreneurs want to do and need to do in order to get recognized and get traction. And, lots of thanks to CTA. We're definitely going to be attending CES, now and in the future. It's the biggest, most epic trade show. If you've never been, it is an incredible opportunity to see what the latest and greatest is, and then connect with all your familiar brands. If you're a photographer, Canon has, the 200 by 200 booth there that's set up with multiple stories and theaters, and it's just mind blowing what we can do in the age of technology.
That is so true, and I'm looking forward to seeing you there at CES, because we're always there covering and everything. We'll make sure we'll come by and see you and do some interviews with you. And so before I let you go, my friend, we talked about all this great innovation, all these great stoves, GoSun stoves that we can get. How can ones get their hands on some of this great piece of innovation?
Yeah, so check us out at GoSun.co. We actually have a pretty awesome sale going on right now for July 4th. We got a bundle that's got all kinds of bells and whistles that'll help you in your outdoor adventures. And then, of course, if you want to check out the product we talked about on Kickstarter, it's called the GoSun Fusion. And that's going to be on Kickstarter through the majority of August, through the majority of the rest of the summer here. And that's coming out at a great price for anybody that's interested in getting a hybrid solar electric stove. Yeah,
you're right, because I saw the prices for that on the Kickstarter, and I was like, what? That's pretty cool. And for them do they just Google Kickstarter GoSun to get there? What's the actual site?
Yeah, it is actually best. Kickstarter has their own search, and so it's better to type in GoSun or solar oven or something into the search to find us.
Awesome, and we'll make sure that we share that link and every thing with the audience and the viewer out there. Before I let you go, Patrick, anything else you would like to articulate? Now, being from the Ohio area, we just inherited the greatest son in Ohio, LeBron James, being a Laker fan. So, any bad feelings towards me in California, or are we cool, or anything else you'd like to articulate out there?
Bring us some love as California and even the East Coast. It's got so much good energy and money and intelligence, and we appreciate when you guys come and hang out with us in the middle of the country. Clearly we need you. So we're willing to share, brother. Now you got to share, brother, coming back.
There we go. Yeah, we'll send you somebody back. But I will tell you this: the Cleveland Browns this year, I am really intrigued with the moves that they've made with Tyrod Taylor, Jarvis Landry, and some of that team, and even like the Bengals. I think both teams will be on the rise this year with some of that young talent, and I envy you because I'm not a Rams fan, I'm not a Charger fan, so I envy you with with the young team that you guys have over there in Ohio. And Ohio State is always kicking butt. So
yeah, man. Ohio works hard, and there is a lot. There's actually a lot of startup and tech stuff going on here that I'm really excited about too. So, entrepreneurs that are looking for a lower cost, talent pool. There's a lot of good tech happening in Cincinnati and in Columbus, and between Centrifuge, we can really get some stuff built for you. So don't forget about us here.
Absolutely. Hey, my friend, great catching up with you. Look to catch up with you later on in the year as we get ready for CES. Can't believe it's only 6 months away, but it's going to come by so quick. But look forward to catching up with you, my friend.
Likewise, Paul. Thanks again for having me on.
Always great to chat with my great friend, Patrick Sherwin of GoSun. I tell you, he's doing some really big things with the company, changing a lot of lives and coming up with some great innovation. I told you I would have the GoFundMe page up. And if you notice right there, their goal is only 30,000. See what they've gotten so far? And I encourage everyone to go to the Kickstarter page for GoSun and see the early bird special right there. for the new guy. Get it and check it out. All right. When we get back, we kind of mentioned it during Patrick's interview about the Consumer Technology Association. Well, I have someone joining me to give us our mid-report of what we're seeing with tech trends throughout the world. So don't go nowhere. We'll be right back with more Shelf coming up after this. You're going to get that GoSun right now. Yeah, get it.
In this world of technology, things are ever changing, rearranging. You need someone to help you out. I know someone who can. Come and take a journey with me as we go through the land of technology. You'll never be alone. You'll be with Paul Amadeus Lane in the tech zone.